Senator McKoon.
Thank you, Julianne. I'm going to talk a little bit about process reform today. There are a lot of substantive pieces of legislation I know are going to be discussed later, but I do think the most important thing we can do is get the process right so that everyone has input, so that legislators know what it is they're voting on towards the end of our session. So I just take a few minutes to talk about that. I'll be introducing a change to the Senate rules this week, and that change would require that conference committee reports be submitted the day prior to consideration. Right now, on the final 5 days of session, a conference committee report can be placed on our desks, and 60 minutes later they can be called up for a vote. Anybody that's here who's been here on the 40th day knows the games that get played. All the conference reports wind up stacking up on our desks at 5 and 6 o'clock in the evening, and we're struggling to read, understand, and digest conference committee reports that often have brand new language that's never been seen by the House or Senate committee that the bill started in. And if your legislators don't know what's in the bill, how can we expect the public to have any idea of what it is we're voting on and have any opportunity for meaningful input? So that's a reform that we're going to be moving forward on this session. There are four other things that really I think would improve our process. One is that when substitute bills are brought to a committee, that any attendee at that committee should have a copy of the substitute. They should be able to see what it is the legislators are actually considering. And when bills are released to legislators for a vote, a report should be made available to the public to show what has changed from the previous version of the bill. We get these conference reports and they're not available online. There's no way for the public to see it. That's inexcusable in the 21st century with the technology available to us, and it's something we've got to change if we're truly going to have open and transparent government. We need to require recorded votes on all bills, on all floor action, and in committee meetings. We're about to have a series of votes on this Convention of States legislation, and I can assure you that the amendments that are being offered, there are three of them that I know of, they'll all be done by hand count. So if you want to know where your legislator stood, unless you're up in the fourth floor in the gallery looking down, you've got no record to know how they voted. That's absurd. That needs to change. And so all those actions should be recorded. And finally, and I think equally significantly, we should look at dividing our session so that the first 20 days we get the only constitutionally mandated business of the legislature out of the way, and that's passing all the appropriations bills, figuring out what our spending is going to be, getting it done, so that the last 20 days can be spent on general legislation and members are not leveraged or rolled because of budget items. What's going on right now with that is simply extortion. There's no other way to put it. It's got to stop. And if we make these 5 simple changes, we will have an incredibly open and transparent process that we can be proud of, rather than the barely controlled chaos you see on the 40th day of session. I'll just say in closing, it's a privilege to be with these folks that are behind me. They are my heroes. They come down here because they care about their government and they want to see a government that reflects the values of Georgians. And I'm proud of the fact that they were willing to invite me to be a part of this today. I am going to have to step away to go back over to the Senate, but I appreciate everything they're doing. I fully support the legislative program that you're going to hear more about in a few minutes, and hopefully I'll be able to come back a little bit later this afternoon. Thank you very much.